So today we have another great Chateau here in front of Diningicons audience. Is Chateau Pontet Canet, the owner, Melanie here. Hi Melanie,
hello.
Nice
Hi.
to meet you.
Likewise. Thank you for having me.
So is it your first time in Hong Kong or you have been here for a long time?
Well, I've been to Hong Kong before, but in fact, in the last year and a half, me and my uncle, we thought of doing kind of a special mission. So I've been here, I've been based out in Hong Kong.
Oh.
Yep. Yeah, I've been based out in Hong Kong, but I've not been in Hong Kong much. So you haven't seen me much because I've been traveling across Asia Pacific, making friends of Pontet Canet and of our cognac, Tesseron cognac.
Okay.
And so I've been across Asia Pacific, and with the concentration of being in the emerging markets, which is China, especially in second and third cities.
Okay. So you have been like brand ambassador as the representative, just temporarily staying in Hong Kong?
Absolutely, absolutely. And we believe that there's nothing better than the owner. You know, I'm one of the owners, you know, I have the keys of the cellar, and there's nothing like that link of meeting the owner, showing our wines, sharing you know, what we make, how we make it, and then we basically, you know, people of course are very welcome at the property, and if I can, you know, I welcome them with open arms.
Okay, so it seems like it's a trend for some younger generations of some great chateaus like you, Chateau Margaux, I think you know, Chateau is in Hong Kong, and also like Chevalier, Adrian is also in Asia, not in Hong Kong anyway. So is it a trend for these great chateaus to give a younger generation to stay in Asia or Hong Kong?
I never know what the future lies, but I think that, you know, the China market was such a sudden market. Yes, it was definitely boom. I think it was such a fast emerging market that it suddenly went very, very high. You know, we just heard all about China, buying, and selling. Yeah, exactly. And we like to know where our wines go. We like to know the trade. We like to know who's selling our wines, and we like to be close to our merchants. You know, because we sell only to the négociants, but then our négociants sell to worldwide merchants. And you know, when we were asking them, there were new people coming left, right, and centre, and we thought, well, we need to work with those people so that we can do, you know, master classes, staff trainings, which is very important, dinners as well, and so that was the idea, and I think there's been a sudden surge because it's followed the market, you know,
So you are the third generation of the family, right?
Yes, correct.
So how do you see like the winemaking techniques and everything compared to your previous generation?
I think that, you know, for us what's important is, as I think I mentioned, the ripeness of fruit. Ripeness and fruit for us is very key. Not overripe, not underripe. And for us, that really makes it in the sense of, you know, I think that the consumer can feel very confident in Pontet Canet because, of course, when there's the great vintages, great wine. But in those vintages that may be not so popular, we still make great wine.
Yeah, that is very important, I think.
Thank you, yeah. And that we have stability. And I think that's what's interesting about the tasting today as well, that James Suckling has put together, is that it's not about those big popular vintages, but also about those vintages that are in between that can really be some great, great wines. And especially for the consumer, they age quicker as well. And I think it's really, you know, key to be able to show these wines.
Okay then, from your point of view, do you think you are more in a scientific way in making wine or more in like agricultural way, like a farmer? What do you think of Pontet Canet or yourself?
Yeah, well, no, I mean, when I talk for Pontet Canet, and no difference, it's home. So I think the main thing is that science, and especially in the research, has really brought wines a long way. Science is part of it. But for us, it's not necessarily an analysis of the fruit that's going to tell us whether we should be picking our fruit or not. For us, it's all about the taste. So we pick our fruits and we taste them, and like a wine, we take in the juice to see if there's volume there, richness, concentration. Then we break the skin if there's extraction, easy extraction or not. Then we take in the pips, we crunch them. If there's anything aggressive, even in the length, it's not time to pick. Once we have all those elements, then we pick.
So you're talking to the grape every day?
Oh, well, I sing to the grapes.
So
no, joking.
To sing to them to like be more ripe and to get better quality.
It does. We have 100 different parcels. So we start with the Merlot, then we move on. Generally, it depends on the grape varietals, how they're aging, how they're ripening and such. We then move on to the Cabernet Franc, Merlot, and we generally finish with our Cabernet Sauvignons. Because Cabernet Sauvignon is a grape variety that takes a little bit longer in that final ripeness, which is so key.
Yes.
But I think that science is part of it, but for us, it's really everything is done in the vineyard. So it's 99.9%. All the work we do is in the vineyard from just after the harvest. We wait for the leaves to drop, then we start the pruning phase, and then it's all that work up until the harvest that is the key. When we bring in the grapes, for us, the work is done.
Okay.
And we feel that we're more vine guiders or keepers or chaperones rather than wine makers. Yeah, we feel that it's not about that. It's really about the viticulture.
Okay.
Nature, sorry.
No, it's okay.
Sorry, Wendy. Nature is incredibly well made.
Yes.
And unfortunately, we've learnt to pretty much abuse her. But we find that by working this way, the more we've worked this way, the better she's given. And the more we respect nature, the better the wines.
Yeah,
and so for us, we really believe, we've started in 2005, and it's really starting to be part of the vineyard.
Okay, one last question.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, because the UN.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah. Well, 2012 is a difficult year for many parts of the world, but still Pontet Canet did a very good job.
Thank you.
How about 2013? I have heard that it's a little bit colder and a little bit raining in Bordeaux. So what are you expecting?
I think it's always difficult to predict weather.
Yep.
Like anywhere in the world. Look at Hong Kong. So I think that, the beginning has been a bit tricky, but it's very early stages. Things can very much change very suddenly. We're only at the end of May. We have June, July, August, and September, which are very, very key months in the whole progression. So it's very early days. So it's very difficult to predict what is tomorrow made of. I think the main thing is, and which is what we always do, is wait for that ripe fruit to come in. And, for example, in 2012, we actually harvested quite late. We do the harvest by hand, and we have 3 sorting tables, which have 2 systems each. And that enables us to really wait, to feel quite confident in waiting for the fruit to be fully ripe, and then we can actually go very quickly in picking the fruit and putting it in the vat. So for us, and the way that Jean-Michel and Alfred work, and indeed I'll be going back there for the harvest. I'm really looking forward to it, and it's always it's a bit like a vintage is a bit like a new member of the family.
Yeah, newborn baby.
Yeah, exactly. It's important to be respectful of that vintage, and what we call the mother, the terroir, the father, the climate, giving the child the vintage. Yeah? And so each children have similarities, but are all individual. Yep. And I think that that's really important to have that individuality, and I think that that's what makes Bordeaux and the Grand Cru Classé in particular, is the fact that you have variation in the vintages. It's what makes it interesting, gives subjects to talk about during dinners, and then of course allows for variation, and I think that's great.
Okay. So I'll be waiting for the 3 Pontet Canet today.
Thank you.
So
thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for Diningicon.